So, you've likely seen the headlines. Things between India and Pakistan have, well, they've taken a really serious turn lately.
Yeah, absolutely. We're seeing these reports, military actions, fire across the border,
Hmm.
lots of accusations flying back and forth.
Exactly. And that's really what we want to, dig into today.
Right. Our mission, if you like, is to try and get a clearer picture,
Yeah.
especially focusing on this Indian military operation, Operation Sindoor.
We need to understand what led up to it, the context, and all the different perspectives around it.
Definitely. And the starting point seems pretty clear, unfortunately, that awful terrorist attack in Pahalgam.
Right. In Indian administered Kashmir, April 22nd, 2025.
Yeah, 26 civilians killed. It's
Just
tragic. And India, well, they pointed the finger straight at Pakistan, very publicly.
And that accusation really set the stage, didn't it?
It seems so. We saw, more cross-border firing almost immediately,
Hmm.
and then came May 6th.
That's when India launched missile strikes.
That's right. Missile strikes targeting 6 different locations. And interestingly, not just in Pakistan-administered Kashmir, places like Muzaffarabad and Kotli, but also hitting Bahawalpur in Pakistan's Punjab province.
Okay, so a wider scope. And the stories coming out after those strikes, they couldn't be more different, could they?
Not at all. India is claiming they took out 70 militants.
70, okay.
But Pakistan's account is starkly different. They're reporting 26 civilians killed, including children, and another 35 injured.
And Pakistan also specifically accused India of hitting mosques and madrasas.
They did, which adds another really complex layer. India, on the other hand, is adamant they only targeted terrorist infrastructure, training camps, things like that, not civilian sites.
So right from the get-go, just fundamentally conflicting narratives about what actually happened on the ground.
Exactly. Polar opposites.
Okay, so let's really try and unpack this name then, Operation Sindoor, because it feels like the name itself is, well, significant.
Oh, it absolutely is. The Indian military specifically chose that name. And Sindoor,
Hmm.
it has this really deep symbolic meaning in Hindu culture and religion.
It's the red powder, right, that married Hindu women wear.
That's the one. Worn on the forehead, usually in the parting of the hair. It signifies that her husband is alive and well. It's a symbol of marriage, of his well-being.
Now, if it's not worn, that signifies widowhood.
Traditionally, yes. When a husband dies, the sindoor is typically removed. It marks the transition to widowhood.
Okay, so how does that connect back to the Pahalgam attack?
Well, the Indian narrative really emphasizes that most of the 26 people killed were men, and tragically, quite a few were newly married.
I see. So their deaths meant.
It meant that many Hindu women suddenly became widows. Symbolically, you could say their sindoor was wiped away by that attack.
So the operation name, Operation Sindoor, it's not just like a code name, it's a message.
Very much so. It's suggesting, from the Indian perspective, that this operation is about avenging that loss. Metaphorically, restoring the sindoor to those women, delivering justice.
That's powerful symbolism.
It is. And India's stated objective lines up with this. They said they aim to destroy Lashkar-e-Taiba camps, other militant training facilities, the groups they believe were behind the Pahalgam attack.
But as we said, Pakistan completely rejects this narrative. They insist India hit civilians, mosques, homes.
Right. That's the absolute core of the disagreement here.
Mm.
India's Ministry of Defense is sticking to the line that these were highly targeted, precise strikes only on terrorist camps. No Pakistani military bases, no civilian areas.
It's hard to reconcile those two accounts.
Impossible, really, without independent verification, which is lacking.
And things didn't stop there, did they? Pakistan hit back.
They did. The very next day, May 7th, Pakistan launched its own retaliatory missile strike into Indian-administered Kashmir.
And they made some pretty big claims after that.
Yeah, Pakistan claimed they destroyed somewhere between 2 and 5 Indian warplanes, and also a brigade headquarters. Big claims.
Which India denied.
Flatly denied. India countered by saying they actually shot down a Pakistani aircraft that had, crossed into their airspace.
So, again, conflicting claims. It sounds like there's a real lack of solid information.
Absolutely. It's striking how much seems to be based on, rumor and unconfirmed reports on both sides.
Yeah.
Even officially, it feels like the picture of the actual damage from these counterattacks is really murky.
Okay. So the ground truth is fuzzy, but the tension level, that seems crystal clear. Very high.
Extremely high. I mean, Pakistan shut down its entire airspace for 48 hours. That's a major step.
Yeah, wow.
And reports suggest firing is still ongoing along the line of control. The international community is definitely paying attention.
Calls for restraint.
Yes,
Yeah.
from the UN, from the U.S. president.
Yeah.
People are urging calm.
But it's important to stress this isn't being called a full-scale war yet.
Not yet, no. That's a critical distinction. But, the worry about escalation is palpable, especially when you remember.
Both sides have nuclear weapons.
Exactly. That just raises the stakes incredibly high. The potential consequences are, well, unthinkable.
Let's circle back to the name Operation Sindoor just for a second. Its impact inside India, it seems like it really struck a chord there.
It really seems to have. That name carries just a huge emotional weight for a lot of people in India. It's become this symbol of, well, revenge maybe, but also justice.
You mean people are reacting positively to it?
We're seeing reports, yeah?
Yeah.
Media coverage showing, for instance, the wives and mothers of the men killed in Pahalgam.
Hmm.
They seem to see the name positively. Like it's not just about hitting back, but also a sign of respect for their loss, a sign the state is standing with them.
So it's working on a psychological level then, beyond just the military action.
Precisely. It feels like a very calculated strategic move by the Indian government, by the military. It's about shaping public opinion domestically.
And maybe there's another angle too, in terms of political strategy.
Well, some analysis suggests that using such a deeply resonant Hindu symbol allows the government to rally support, especially from Hindu nationalist groups.
Even if there are civilian casualties in Pakistan.
That's the perspective,
Yeah.
that the power of the symbol within India might, for some, overshadow or justify the consequences across the border. It helps frame the narrative domestically.
Okay, so let's try and pull this together. We started with that horrific attack in Pahalgam.
Which India blamed on Pakistan,
Mhm.
leading to increased tensions.
Then India launched Operation Sindoor on May 6th, a name loaded with that Hindu cultural symbolism of loss, widowhood, and maybe retribution.
Right. Followed by Pakistan's counterstrike on May 7th, and these
Mhm.
completely opposing claims about what was hit and who was harmed.
And now, the situation is just incredibly tense. Lots of international concern, calls for calm.
But no declared war.
Yeah.
Still, the potential for things to escalate further between two nuclear powers, it's a deeply worrying situation.
Absolutely. And thinking about this whole deep dive, it really leaves us with something to mull over, doesn't it? How does using this kind of potent, emotionally charged symbolism like the name Operation Sindoor actually affect things?
Yeah, how does it complicate international relations? How does it shape how the public, both domestically and internationally, sees the conflict, especially in such a fragile global situation?
Definitely something complex to think about long after we finish here.